Hello, my name is Nancy Lorem Adams. I'm president of Northwest Designer Craft Artists. I'm delighted to be here today to introduce our member, Dorothy McGuinness, a longtime member since 2006. Let me tell you a little bit about Dorothy. She started her quest to learn about basket making in 1986, and since that time, she's taken over 200 classes. Many of those were with Jiro Yanazawa, a fabulous contemporary basket maker who lived in the Portland, Oregon area for many years. He now is residing in Japan and continuing his practice. It wasn't until she took a class with Jackie Abrams using watercolor paper cut in fine strips using a pasta machine that she realized her real love. And since that time, she's continued using diagonal twill and mad weave to make complex sculptural contemporary baskets of just amazing order. Her techniques were published in the 2001 book by Schaefer, The Art of Contemporary Woven Paper Baskets, Explorations in Diagonal Quill. Dorothy is represented in many public and private collections, and she's been published in several books and magazines. She was recently featured in the NBO magazine. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy Dorothy's presentation today. Please join me in welcoming her to her talk.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming out for on this nice day to hear my talk. I appreciate the Northwest Designer Craftsman giving me this opportunity. I'm going to talk about how I started in basketry and how my work has changed and becoming more sculptural in the way I weave. This was my very first basket. And I have to say the first few pictures you see here are not very good because, of course, at the time I took them, I wasn't thinking I was going to be doing artist talks and, was just trying to document them, not necessarily make them look really nice. This is the first basket I made in a class I took so many years ago, 36 or so. It's a twine basket, made of reed. We made 4 baskets in that class, a diagonal plated basket, some coiling, and some natural materials. And here's another twined basket that I obviously got better at it. I did some plated work, made a small market basket, done some egg basket. I even took a few willow basket classes, but definitely found that wasn't really my thing. With some coiled pine needle, some Nantuckets, and some shaker ash, some birch with a nice sewn rim, some cherry bark, one of my favorite natural materials when I was using natural materials. And I've done some cedar bark too, quite a bit actually. And then these are a bunch of various basket classes that I took with Jiro Yanazawa, who it really influenced, I think, my aesthetic about the baskets and how I finished them, such. And I really wish he was still around, so in the States, so I could get some more classes out of him. But he had to go back to Japan, so that's too bad. In 2000, I took a class from Jackie Abrams on a paper basket, using watercolor paper as a medium for making baskets. And she's the one who came up with where I learned about using a pasta maker to cut the paper, which is wonderful because I certainly couldn't cut them all uniform like this with by hand. Once I found paper, I basically never went back to natural materials or any other materials for that matter. This is my very first paper basket. I wish I still owned this piece, but I gave it to someone. And I called it Stopper Yellow. Mostly when I was working with paper at first, I just was working with color and patterns, and most of the pieces I did were, still basic baskets. This was Blue Lagoon. And that's all I played with color. That's what I mostly did with them, and did some shaping. This one is silver shadows, and I did some lidded work. I like playing with the different techniques, just a web weave technique or star based, depends on what your view of it is, inside or out. And I like playing with the different types of bases. It's a 6-footed base, gives you a more sculptural sort of look, not so straight up and down. And then I started thinking, well, what if I did a base that wasn't all equal? It was asymmetrical. What would happen? And I had no idea. I really didn't expect to find that it wasn't flat. That the base, because of the different lengths of each corner, it made the certain sides of the corners, rise up off the bottom. So I started playing with that. This one's tilt. This one is leap. And after thinking, working with that and thinking, God, that's really interesting process. And this one, you can't tell so much but the piece leans. So I had to put corners into the front, so it wouldn't have stood up. And so I started doing, seeing what would happen. I did a 6-footed piece, and every other one I made longer. And yes, they're all sitting up above the plane of the basket, which was still really amazing to me. And so I played with that some more. Though this one, looks like a pair of underpants. And I pushed that a little bit further. And then I pushed it to about as far as you could with that size paper, lengths of paper, and still have corners at the top. And then I started playing with how do you put, can I make tubes? It takes the woven up piece and then start weaving things differently together. And making more tubes and weaving them back together in different ways. And I even made a table. It's actually a very good size. It's about, I think it's about 18, 20 inches tall. It was rather annoying to make because as you're weaving each leg, the other leg was in the way. And it was, it was a slow process to get them all woven up and finished. And then I started putting, instead of weaving tubes separately off a base, I started weaving them and putting them together. And this one is 7 fingers. Say I took 7 different pieces and wove them each at a little different length, and then wove them together. This is a favorite piece. It's on the cover of my book. It's called Conjoined. I took two woven starts and baskets and wove them together. And then I tried weaving some asymmetrical pieces together, which there's 3 pieces here. And this is called Citrus. And this one is Strawberry. And this was kind of just used 2 pieces that I was playing with to weave across each other and weave them together. And it's called split decision. And I have to say that it didn't turn out quite what I was thinking it was. And I had to do some interesting work to try to make it work out properly, especially on the rim. And this is a trisect. I took 3 flat 2-corner pieces and wove them together. And this is a red-eyed devil, which is 5 pieces, 2 for the eyes and 3 for the rest of it. And I managed to paint the places where I was going to weave the eyes color so they'd come out that way. And this one is called Salmon Canyon, just 3 flats that I kind of twisted around and attached to each other as I wove them. After I did that one, a little while later, I did this one, which is Twister. I took 9 baskets and connected each one, twisting them like 90 degrees every time I added another one, so they all were back to the same direction at the ends. And this one was a challenge to do with turning and weaving and doing the rim. I haven't done another one. I've thought about it, but I haven't quite jumped into that yet. And then I was doing alternating corners instead of weaving them all in or out. I'd weave some one direction and some the other direction, and you'd get these interesting looks to the piece. This is berry, and this is ripple green, and this one is pinch pot. And I was doing some teapots too. I think I did this first one as a challenge, and it sold. So I thought, okay, I can do some more teapots. Did this one, Alice. It sold. And this one's out in I think the show's over with now. I haven't gotten it back yet. I'm hoping I won't get it back. I'm hoping it will sell too. This one's Circlet, and this one was Rapunzel, which was also in that same show. And I've done some animals. This is Angus. And this is Fido, though I know a lot of people think this is a giraffe, but it's just a dog with a really long neck. And I've done a shoe. I haven't done any other shoes, but done this one. This for a shoe show that it didn't get into, which didn't make any sense to me because I thought it was a really nice piece. And I have been working with painting stripes onto the paper and seeing how the stripes interact as the piece changed or the size changed. And I didn't really start out to do a nested set, which this is, but as I was, weaving each piece, it's like I just wanted to see, well, how is it going to change for the next piece? I call it nearly 12 because there's 11 pieces, and I got to the point where I didn't want to do another one larger. And this particular technique I figured out, which has been really important in terms of some of my sculptural work, because the multiple feet give the pieces strength that a flat strip wouldn't do the same for. And this one's called rickrack, which is basically what I call the technique, because it's what I think of it in my head. And this is a piece I did that I twisted a strip of this, and it's a Mobius. And I had to paint the paper a certain way so that it would look the same on each strip. After I twisted it, it would work together properly. This is Jazz. Very simple piece using that technique. And this is Satellite. And yeah, doing this in like a flat strip it wouldn't stand up like this. It would collapse. The stepping gives it strength that I don't know how you would do any other way unless you did made a structure to put the piece on. And this was 3 Love Twist. And this is my Zigzag series. I started with 3 bases that I wove together, and this is Zigzag 1. And then I increased the number of bases by 2 each time. It's a Zigzag 2, and it's got 5 bases. And it's Zigzag 3 has 7 starts and bases that I wove together. The patterning is just what happens when I put the particular pieces together. I never know what the patterning is going to come out as I'm weaving it, and it changes, as the basket is woven out farther, which I find really, really interesting. And this is Zigzag 4. And I have this little video that I hope will work. Might take a couple seconds to start. This is basically stills I took of making the Zigzag 5, and I just strung them all together. And I just shows all the different steps of making all the different bases. The Zigzag 5 has 11 starts on it. And then I just started taking pictures each time I wove another section together. And it just got more and more crazy as it went along. Just took more pictures as I finished weaving around each time. Here I've got the finished cutting off the edges and putting on the rim pieces. Start doing the sewing. Different angles with the piece. And this is Zigzag 5. I've thought about making more recently Zigzag 6 or 7 and 7, but I haven't jumped into that because that would be 13 and 15 starts. I probably need to use some other kind of paper because it gets to the point where the piece is so big that I'm damaging the weavers as I'm moving it around. I've done a lot of mad weave. I'm trying to do some sculptural work with it too. This is Byzantine. It's Mobius. I had to figure out how to paint the paper a certain way so I could get the colors to be half and half. So when I twisted it, they would weave together in proper patterning. This is Boat 4. This is Glow. I really like the tumbling blocks motif, and I like how it changes as you're looking at it from one view to another. And I start doing some sculpture. This is a chocolate mint, and it's got 4 feet. So it has 3 feet. And this is 2 Mobiuses that I did opposite color patterns and twists, so it's called double reflection. And this is Oasis. And this is Shooting Stars. So I took 3 woven starts of a mad weave and then wove them together. I thought that was got a very interesting pattern. I need to do some more of those. And this is Triality 3. And this is Triality 4. I just patterning is mad weave is very intriguing to me. And got some shots of my studio. It doesn't look quite like this now. I have rearranged some things and gotten rid of some stuff, but it's still pretty much the same basic idea. And this is a 140-pound watercolor paper rough press. And I usually paint them with a paint roller. Just the fastest and most economical way, it seems to me. And here's some sheets. I was doing some protection work of some pieces or other in the other sides. And here are the sheets, a couple of sheets cut up to be cut into the pasta maker. Here's the pasta maker, cutting them into strips. Very convenient machine for that. But you do have to buy new heads occasionally not because of they wear out, but I mean the cutters get dull or anything. It's because the inside the little gears are plastic, so eventually they usually break. So you have to buy new heads. Here's all set up, ready to be woven. Here's a few images of some pieces that are in process. Tomato took 3 starts and wove across each one. And then here they are, ready to be woven together. And here I am weaving it together. People always want to know how I keep track of everything, but I don't. I just keep track of what's right in front of me in my hands when I'm weaving. And this was a piece ready to be trimmed up. And this is the finished piece called, where's the, my brain left me. I can't tell you what the name of this is. Oh, well, that's fine. And here's another start. This is a multi-cornered piece. Here it is. I've made all the corners. The other side. And there was another. I made another one. And then I wove them together from the center out. You can't really tell very well from this picture. Here they are, pretty much woven together. Weaving up one leg, it's upside down. Here it's woven up. Got a little. I need something just for spacers. I usually use straws just to sometimes help with the shaping of a piece to keep it from being too close together. The rim is on. That's one continuous rim, so it's one continuous piece of round reed that I have to sew wax linen on. It's so fun because you got to deal with all those little clips that like to catch your thread. So it can be frustrating at times. Here's a finished piece, which is zipper dance. And this is one of the platonic solid pieces I've done. I think I needed 12 pieces in all, 6 for each half. Here's the 6 pieces all left together and with the inside. And here's the second half, not quite as woven together as the first. And here they're sitting there ready to be woven together as they are started to be here. And here most of them are together. Just got to trim up each of the tubes, put rims on them. And this is a dodecahedron, which is one of the 5 platonic solids. My most recent series has been variations on a theme. This variation is the theme 1. This is 2. Basically, I took 5 starts, and variations on theme 1 is the fewest number I could work with of pieces and each start, and this one is doubled up. Variation on theme 3 is 3 times the beginning number, and variations on a 4 is 4 times the beginning number. And I'm intrigued always by how the shaping of the piece changes as you get more weavers, and how the patternings changes as it's woven up. I'm in the middle of a variation on a theme 5, and I have at least a dozen or more variations to do someday if I get myself going on them. And at the moment, I'm still working on the platonic solid series. This is I've got 1 iteration done, and I've started 2 other iterations. This is a tetrahedron. This is hexahedron, which is a square. This is octahedron. This is dodecahedron. And this is icosahedron. I think this was the most annoying one to do. Partly because of I did half and half coloring, and it was hard to keep it all properly aligned. Now this is the second iteration. I've done 1. This is a hexahedron 2. And this is tetrahedron 3. And I really do hope to do 2 more, finish the other 2 iterations. I do have ideas about doing these same platonic solids in Mad Weave, so I'm not sure if that's going to work out or not, but I certainly will probably try it. And of course, once I finish doing platonic solids, if I ever do get this done and I want to do some more, there's still the Archimedean solids, which I think there's like 18 or 20 of them. And then there's the Johnson solids, which I think there's like 79 of them. Plus there's prisms and anti-prisms, and yeah, there's all sorts of different geometric things out there for me to work with. I've always been interested in wine bottles, which is what this is. I have someday hopefully planned to do a Klein basket. I thought about it over the years. I think I know how I can do it, but have I done it yet? No, but I do plan on doing it someday. And basically, I'm very much interested in math and the geometry of the process of making baskets. This is my book, The Art of Contemporary Woven Paper Basketry. I been almost 2 years since it's been out. Seems hard to believe. I think about doing another book, particularly in triaxial weaves, mad weaves, but I don't know if I will or not. Though, just in diagonal twills, I probably could write another book or two just on different things you can do with diagonal twill. And this is my website, DorothyMcGuinness.com. Thank you so much for having me.